still has not stopped the killings. Look at what happened in Imo State, I think over the weekend. So I think everybody should begin to look at political solutions and some of these options that are being given to them by leaders of the Southeast. And one of them is this one has been given by the governor of Anambra State. We are in a situation where we should not take away all of
so you're saying they should explore the option of releasing Nnamdi Kanu to the governor of Anambra State?
If that would bring peace to the Southeast, why not? If that would bring peace there.
Okay. Well, but as regards this call now for release over Kanu's health, they're saying that due to poor nutrition, psychological torture, social isolation, and electrolyte imbalance, and also the fact that Nnamdi Kanu has a pre-existing heart condition, it should be looked into. I'm thinking that, the federal government should also look at the health status of Nnamdi Kanu, especially as there is a court order. I'm not even going to go deep into that, but that is where the...
Sandra, incarceration of any kind would break, it's capable of breaking anybody down psychologically, mentally, and physically. Even if you have the best, if they give you the best food every day, you get the best treatment and all of that. If you are not very, very strong, if you are confined to a particular place, incarcerated for long, it can break you down. So for whatever anybody is saying about his health condition, yes, he's been there. He doesn't have his freedom. He cannot see people the way he wants and all of that. It's capable of breaking him down. So.
What about the court order? What about the court order?
The case is at the Supreme Court now, Sandra. And again, some of these things you can have the back and forth on whether it should have been released before the case is presented at the Supreme Court and all of that. But I'm just saying that look, we can continue to look at the legal side, but the realistic thing for now is for us to look at other options like a political solution and this kind of solution that the governor of Anambra State is bringing to the table.
All right, more details on page 28 of The Guardian. And we also have here, Obaseki visits 12 rescued kidnapped victims, hails security officers. And that's on page 29 of The Guardian newspaper. So yes, just as mentioned earlier, there have been an additional 12 rescued kidnapped victims that were abducted from the Igwebe train station in Edo State. And the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, is assuring them that government would leave no stone unturned in securing the release of the 2 remaining hostages. I have a question, Fuad.
Go on.
How did they rescue these people?
Well, maybe the entire process is still being kept as classified information.
Okay.
That maybe it's not to, trump the process or mess it up. They want to keep it secret for now. But I understand where you're coming from on exactly how this operation is going. How is it going? How is this rescue being done? Hope it's not just negotiations and ransom payments and that they're just releasing people in tranches. We saw that with the Abuja Terminal train attack. But, too many questions that we may not get answers to at this time, since the operation is still ongoing. But honestly, I agree with you that we need to get some details. We need to understand how these rescues are done and then learn from it. The reason why we need to get some of this information is to learn from it.
All right. More details on page 29. And finally, Nigeria's energy transition marred by debt, subsidies, and stranded oil. That is on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. And we have riders to that. UN, IRENA, SE for all, canvas options, halt in $15.7 billion petrol subsidies, asking Africa to borrow for energy transition, futile exercise. That's coming from UNDP. And then we also have Nigeria may push 1% of oil fund to clean energy. That's coming from Professor Bala, and that is the Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria. And then finally, stakeholders divided as cost of borrowing skyrockets. More details on page 6. It's a very long read. You can get all the details there on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. It still trends in the papers. We still have some other papers to look through. So let's run for elections. And the writer to that is ex-Lagos governor, governorship, National Assembly standard bearers brainstorm. So all the candidates for under the APC umbrella have been, put together, or
So
someone.
because this is no report, this is no news for me. I don't know, but again, it is what it is. You understand what I'm saying?
I completely understand what you mean, Fuad. Thank you. All right. So, but basically, what that report is saying that all candidates of the party, governorship, National Assembly, houses of assembly, and all of them to work together, team spirit, and subscribe to the strategy of hard work. That's on page 25 of the Nation newspaper. Moving on now. Konua hopeful of salary payment as Accountant General request members details. Okay, so members of Congress of University Academics, Konua, have been requested, and the request was made in connection to the 8-month salaries of varsity workers, which the federal government has declined to pay. So remember very well, Fuad, Konua was registered during the 8 months. Yes, during the 8-month strike as, a separate body from ASU. So what this report is saying that the members of Konua may actually get their own 8 months payment.
You know that when Konua was approved or was registered by the government, the intention was clear. It was to break the rank and file of ASU.
Correct.
Right there.
Yes.
And this report is showing that the government seems to be more open to discussing with members of Konua. So the idea of the 8 months has become a tool to divide ASU. You see, it's unfortunate that we have leaders that are not ready to do any legacy. They stay in power, they play politics with everything, they destroy all institutions, they mess everything up without any legacy. And then, of course, when they're out of government, they are quick to point fingers. Whatever Chris Ngige is doing, and the Minister of Education, and this government, from top to bottom, simply shows they are not ready to leave any legacy as far as education is concerned in Nigeria. The idea of playing politics with everything, thinking you can divide people. Konua, we knew the idea from day one was to come divide ASU. And I blame ASU, really. I keep telling you that they went into a war without a winning strategy. And that was why they allowed the speaker, for example, by the Abiyamila, to play them. And now, they are the receiving end of everything now. They are like, look, what eventually did we gain from this 8 months strike, industrial action? I blame ASU for all of this, really. Because they should not have fought on the side without a definite result from whatever they fought for 8 months. So it's clear that the government is willing and did everything to destroy ASU, to divide them, and ensure that they don't remain one. And Konua is a good script to achieve that. So you can't, they are okay. So they want to use it as divide and rule. Okay, so if you're a member of Konua, they'll pay you. Or if you are still for ASU, will not pay you. It's about not wanting to leave any legacy, and I'm sure they will not leave any legacy. They will go.
All right. Hello.
I'm with you, Sandra.
Okay. Well, very unfortunate, just as you have pointed out clearly. But then Konua is hopeful of salary payments as they have been requested to submit their, details.
But I blame ASU. They sat down with a politician.
It was very unfortunate.
And they allowed him to play them.
Yes.
And now you're saying, I didn't promise you anything. You are like that.
Yes.
You believe a politician. You sit down as a unionist to believe a politician. It's unfortunate. That's who allowed that to happen to them.
It's okay. It's very unfortunate. I agree with you completely, 100%. I agree with you that, I think ASU was dealt a very, very dirty game. But then more details on page 25 of the Nation newspaper. Moving on now, we also have NDLA busts another tramadol cartel, seizes over 5 billion naira opioids in warehouse. That's on page 26. NDLA is still working. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on now, we also have kidnappings. Amotekun firms up security in southeast. Kidnappers abduct cleric in Ekiti, threaten to kill Osun farmers. So the Southwest Security Outfit, Amotekun Corps, has firmed up security strategies to counter the rising activities of criminals, especially cases like forest and improved collaboration with other security agencies. So that is Amotekun.
Getting now seems to just further buttress the need for us to have state policing, community policing, forest rangers, When it comes to insecurity, make it a constitutional thing. Let's have state policing, community policing, forest ranger, so that, we devolve these things to the. They say security is local. They are the ones they know these places, they know their environment, they know their forest, and I think that's the way we should go.
So, a credit card that's been designed by the Central Bank of Nigeria for domestic use has been scheduled for deployment, and the card is expected to compete with. We don't know how this will be funded, but the details are on page 25. All right, of the Nation newspaper. What?
I'm asking just a very important question. They have been having reports that
but he made statements. He made statements last week.
Yeah, he found reports that he sneaked into the country over the weekend.
But why is he sneaking into his own country?
I think there are reports, confirmed reports that he sneaked in, but we don't have an official statement of his whereabouts as we speak. Just wanted to point that out.
So we're still looking for the CBN. The CBN governor.
There are no official statements to his exact whereabouts.
Okay. Well, thank you for putting it out there. It's been almost 3 weeks now, so yeah.
Yes.
Okay. More details on page 25 as regards the credit card, the CBN credit card. You can get all of the details, because they have a belief that it's a significant transformation as regards payment system in Nigeria. We get all the details on page 25 of the Nation newspaper. We also have here Auditor General fails to publish 2020 report and the submission is overdue. You can get the details on page 28 of the Nation newspaper.
Will not fall. Nothing will happen.
Nothing is going to happen. It's just a report. And I'm also
people have done worse things and nothing happened. So. And
I am also an accomplice by looking over the report. Because
probably you're tired of reports like
because nothing is going to happen.
So the devils will not fall. So let's move on.
Very unfortunate. All right, petrol subsidy removal will unlock 11 trillion naira. Experts review.
That if we are not careful, the politicians will siphon again. It's good the way we are saying these things. New subsidy will save enough money to do other things, to do this health and that. It's lies. At the end of the day, the same people who kept their arms, legs, and head in subsidy will also go into this other sector to siphon this money if we are not careful. So that's why we should be careful to say, if we remove subsidy, we'll save so much money to put into other things. Have we not been putting money into other things? Why have we not gotten the result? This side, there's a way they throw bits at all. There's a way they sell these things to us. It looks so good. But we need to ask Peter questions. Is it the same politicians that will handle the money when we save them and remove subsidy?
Okay. More details on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Just as Fuad said, so we make all this money, but what exactly are they expended on? Very important for us to ask. Now let's move on to Vanguard newspaper, and the major headline on the front page of Vanguard is security operatives rescue 12 Edo train kidnapped victims. 2 are still being held, and we have right after that Obaseki berates NRC, that's Nigeria Railway Corporation, for inadequate security in facilities. Cautions traditional rulers harboring herders. Yes, so that's those are the riders that we have to that particular one. More details on
because honestly, it's not supposed to be the job of the Edo State government. It's only that it happened in their state. The NRC is a federal agency.
NRC is everywhere. They're all over the 36 states. So.
Yeah, they're supposed to have their own security arrangements for their train stations, for their coaches and tracks. But again, the government has to step in. The most important thing is that we get these people back safe and sound.
All right.
And we had the figure of 2031. Now we rescued how many, and we're still remaining 2. So you see that I'm not really sure of the figures of persons that were kidnapped.
I was going to go into that, but since you said that we should just leave, they said 31 were kidnapped.
Okay.
Six had been rescued, and then we have 12. I don't know if my mathematics are correct, but that's still not adding up to 21.
There was also the Commission of Information, I think so, in a duty that said it was only 20, not 31. So the figures are not...
Even if it is 20, the figures are still not adding up.
That's the issue. So, but again, it is what it is. We just hope that all the abductees are rescued alive and returned back to their family. And we learn from this.
Most importantly. All right, still on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, 53 years after, we must say never again to another. Wait, sorry, I think I got something wrong. Okay, yes. We must say never again to another war, says Obi. And that is Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, saying that 53 years after the Nigeria-Biafra civil war that claimed no fewer than 3 million lives on both sides, we need to avoid that. Nigerians need to avoid situations that will lead to another war. I don't think anybody. I think Russia-Ukraine situation should bring a lot of light to the disadvantages or the consequences. Yes, he's who said Indigo, who were on Biafra side during the war, were committed to the ideals of a just, equitable, and inclusive Nigeria. All right, we're still, I think we'll still hear more as regards this, because he made this remark to mark the 53rd anniversary of the end of the Nigerian Civil War and the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Okay? All right.
I just think that if we have, especially the young ones, because sometimes you go on social media, you see young ones are tilting towards statements like, "Oh, we have to fight, we have to do this,"
some inciting statements, yeah,
and some manner of inciting statements and all of that. But if they are too young to have witnessed the Biafra war or probably what happened in Rwanda, at least they are not too young to see what is happening in Ukraine.
Yes, okay.
So I'm sure if anybody says war in Rwanda now, because they knew what it cost them, for things that you can sit on the table and resolve, and you decide to take guns and face each other, eventually, so instead of war, I think we should always continue to talk. There's no perfect society. We always have issues to talk about and discuss, and war for me is never an option, really, and it should never be an option.
All right. Well, he's still calling for the fact that he, as a proud Nigerian of Igbo extraction, he is most truthfully and wholly committed to that stand of one united, secure, and progressive Nigeria. Well, but that's that as regards that particular one. I really don't want to bring up some issues, because there were some conversations that we were having on Twitter, and it's just trying to shed some sort of light on Peter Obi's stance as regards Biafra and the commitment of the East, the Igbo extraction to his candidature and all of that. But then, just as I said, more details on page 8 of Vanguard newspaper. Moving on now, we also have here, Paul Atiku Tinubu disagree over performance and health status. All right, so the interesting thing about PDP and APC is I think they've stopped campaigning, so now it's just a thing of, oh, you didn't do this, you did this, exactly at this point now. But then what we have here is that the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC Asiwaju Bola Tinubu yesterday disagreed over their performance and health status. While Atiku described the APC candidate as the worst civilian governor in the history of Lagos State, Tinubu dismissed reports about the fragility of his health, saying he has been outworking his opponents in the race. So it's just a back and forth of, did you do this? Didn't you do this? Did you do this? Didn't you do this? Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
These two presidential candidates, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, on the two issues they are talking about, have questions to answer. And I don't think any of them can come out completely clean. On the issue of corruption, for example, or mismanagement of public funds, up till now, there are still a lot of questions about the management of public funds in Lagos State, which a lot of people think has been, confined to body loan for years, and it's still confined to body loan. That the coffers, the treasury of Lagos State is not well accounted for. The same thing, the health status of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is published in public comment statements, even on the campaign trail. has shown that, there are still one or two questions that he needs to answer on his physical fitness and even his mental ability, cognitive ability to be able to put things together. The same for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, wrote a book, a telling book on the level of corruption that you can attribute to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. He has not debunked that. And even his health in recent time have been called to question that people who have said that, look, he's been sneaking in and out of hospital in the UK. So I think they should spare us all of this back and forth and tell us what they want to do. Whether we like it or not, these are former presidential candidates. What do we do with it now? APC brought us Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. PDP gave their ticket to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. So we have to deal with them as former presidential candidates. So instead of them, doing back and forth and distracting us with some of these things that we already know, I think they should just help us by telling us what they think is our problem and how they want to solve it. Should they become president?
Thank you. Very important. All right, that's on page 33 of Vanguard newspaper. We also have on the front page of Vanguard, IPOB raises alarm, claims herdsmen plan to attack Anambra. And that is on page 30 of Vanguard newspaper. I think it's something that we should also quickly put some spotlight on. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, yesterday raised the alarm over alleged plan by killer herdsmen to attack Anambra State. And they claim that the killer herdsmen are planning to attack the state are those dislodged from Enugu and are trooping into Anambra to invade some yet to be identified communities. All right, and the herdsmen are already trooping into Nnewi and Oka, who claim they are coming for business, but the IPOB intelligence reports has revealed that they are actually terrorists coming to attack communities in the state.
Well, I think this information is for the governor of the state.
Exactly.
The Inspector General of Police and all the security operatives in that state. We shouldn't say, is it because IPOB is the one issuing this statement, they should be dismissed. Any information on insecurity or security threats will be taken seriously. So I would think that the governor of the state would have this information. The Inspector General of Police is also listening. The Commissioner of Police and all the security operatives in the state will take this information seriously and begin to act immediately. Because again, we should not dismiss anything. When it happened in Ondo State, it was like, here in Ondo State. Mm-hmm. So I think I would think that the governor would act very fast on it, to be proactive on this and ensure that things are put in place to ensure this does not happen.
All right. Okay, finally, we have just a few more minutes to go on the show. It's Trends in the Papers on 98.3 Mainland FM. And right here on the front page of New Telegraph, we have major headline, State of the Nation. None can build logical Nigerian narrative around one religion. And that is coming from Pastor Tunde Bakare, and still on his State of the Nation New Year address. Urges citizens to reject vote buyers, political merchants, says nation confronted by regional and ethnic memory joggers, inadequacies of old political order, others fuel obedient movement momentum. Christian elders warn against provocative utterances. And that's on pages 3 and 8 of New Telegraph. All right. Very quickly now, we also have here Obi to Nigerians. Unite against agitations and divisions, says stigmatizing entire group over few persons' misconduct is unfair. That's on page 4 of New Telegraph newspaper. We also have here... Okay, we also have here 22.7 trillion naira federal government's Ways and Means loan tops Senate's agenda. That's on page 3. Now, moving on, we also have ex-AGF 5 SANs to DSS. Hands off Emefiele. Right, Malami. Disquiet over 1 million naira SAN application fee. I think we've moved on from that. But it's more of hands off Emefiele. So the Emefiele issue, I think, so is DSS still looking out for the CBN governor? Is that why we've not seen the CBN governor?
At least the last information we had from the DSS is that it's still wanted to answer question on terrorism funding and all of that. And I don't think there has been any other information from the DSS contrary to that. So I also would assume that it's still wanted by the DSS, and I still continue to say, if you ask questions to answer, why not? You should just show up. All of these fans writing letters, they should follow him to the DSS and defend him if he's happy. I'm sure he will have his day in court. To be prosecuted, So I don't know why all of this noise is coming at this time.
Okay, more details on pages 2, 14 and 16 of New Telegraph. And Okowa, my joint ticket broke Bendel age-long jinx. That's on page 4. Ugo Chinyere saying, Imo government liable for attack, says COP. There was an attack on COP in Imo State. Well, more details of that on pages 25 and 31 of New Telegraph. We'll take a short break now, and we will be back by 8:40 for Milan Focus, where we pick one or two trending stories, put some spotlight on it, and open up the phone line for you. And we are the Sound of Lagos.
This is